In this tutorial, we're going to look at various examples. So I would actually suggest you to look into this practicingruby.com. In this website, you will get all the examples along with a detailed explanation. So suppose we choose something like the HTTP server. So the fact is, the person who created it, he created it as an article. He will explain it to you, or he'll actually tell you what's going on behind the scenes. And there's this script. It's loaded with plenty of commands, and they're all written in Ruby. So this is a minimal HTTP server. It was built by a developer named Luke Frankel. So he documented his entire program. I hope you would go to this website and you'll check all these examples out. There are some great examples. You can replicate them in your code. You can use them in your code, and the most important part is that you should practice them using your Ruby skills. Now, in this tutorial, what I forgot to mention about is we are going to look at examples. So I created one of the example, which is the phone book uh, the phone book file or the phone book script. So we know that inside our phones or inside our cell phones, we have got the phone book, we have got the message settings where we can create our messages and send them to someone else or send them to a group of people. Then there is the option of deleting messages, or also we have got what's known as the inbox. So all these topics are interrelated into one single module. Similarly, if we look at the phone book, we have got the functionalities of insert, delete, replace, and display contacts. So when we have a phone book, we have a sequential display of names along with the numbers, and if there are some other additional details, then those things would show up. Then if you look at the other options, inside a phone book we can add a contact along with the name and the number, and if the contact has an email address, a house address, a work address, we can also add all those details. Then there is the option of deleting the contact. If we want to delete a contact, we go to the contact and then we press option, we delete the contact from our phone book. Then there is also the option of replace. Suppose you go to you have a friend who got a new number, who got a new cell number, so you want to update or replace the old number with the new one. We can create a function to replicate that functionality. So what I try to do in here is to create this phone book, and I'm going to show you step by step how to do that. But before that, we also have some other constructs to learn, even if we have to create this simple example. So in this example, I've got uh, four functions, which are insert contact in here, as you can see. Then I've got the delete contact, then I've got the replace contact and display contact. So this is a very simplistic example. If I run the program, this program will have a separate interface to run, and this is not exactly an interface, but we can assume it to be an interface. So an interface is something like uh, as you know we can imagine a human being. So our interface or the point of contact is our mouth, our vocals. We use those and we see the outside world, or we gather the outside data using our ears, using the uh, using our taste, using the tongue, using our nose, which we use for smelling. Then we also use the eyes to get data about all the visualized surrounding. We gather data which are actually visuals. So these are like the interfaces. These are the bridges that are connecting the inner nerves of our body with the outside world, which means we have got a nerve or a sensory nerve that's connected with our nose, and that nerve is responsible for taking the data that is being gathered by our nose, and it's going to take that data to our brain. and our brain is going to process that. But the outside world does not have a direct contact with the brain or with the sensory nerve, which is responsible for gathering the data, but it has a contact with our nose. So the nose is acting like an interface. Similarly, if we imagine or if we think about our eyes, we're gathering visual data using our eye. And this is being sent with other sensory nerves that are connected with the brain. Those sensory nerves are taking the data to the brain, but the brain does not have a direct access to the outside world, but it has an access through the interface. And this time, the interface are the eyes. So we have two-way interaction. One way is the outside world sending data through the interface, which is the nose, the tongue for tasting, also the eyes, the ears. These are being used to send data to a processing machine, which is the brain. Also, the brain is can request some data through the interface, like you you have several food. Suppose you go to a new place, you visit a new place and you want to taste some new food. So you want the fact that you want to taste it, it can be stated as your brain is asking for new data on taste or something. It's trying to get data about some new food. So it is actually coming out in the urge to get a new taste out of a new food. So there are two-way interaction. One is the outside world sending data, the inside processor is requesting data, but both of these outside world and the processor, they are actually interacting indirectly with each other, but they're interacting through the use of interfaces. So interface works like a bridge. Similarly, in our programs too, we need to create implementation based code and also the interface based code. We hide the implementation from the outside world, from the users, but we only open those implementations using the interface to the outside world or to other codes.